Hello everyone, George here, and today we're going to take a look at how I made this Path of Exile prophecy mask. Alright, so I actually have to be kind of careful because the paint on this is still a bit wet. I used oils for this one, and they take a long time to dry. But anyway, here's the final mask. Now, this actually was done incredibly quickly, so why don't we take a minute and look at that now. Alright, so the first thing I did, of course, was go to the website and grab some reference material from their YouTube video. I bring it in, clean things up a little bit because I'm probably going to end up using this as my main stencil. The next thing I need to do is, of course, capture some imagery of that little monkey guy. So I look at it, I scroll through the trailer, look at it multiple times, and then bring in all those different reference material for me to work with. Now, I need a face to start with, and I just decided to go into ZBrush, export out an OBJ file of that generic head. Now I'm cutting down the lower neck area, so I only have a head to work with. Now I start looking at monkeys and I very quickly realize that basically this monkey has no face. It looks like the mask goes right in there, but I bring in a cube object and then I of course start moving vertices around, but very quickly I decide I don't want to do this, so instead I put a plane in and I decide to go sort of old school with how I do this, and this is just how I like to work. I bring down the points, begin moving them all throughout the facial region, and at this time I'm not sure, do I want to make this a functional mask that people can wear, or do I want to make it a replica of the actual monkey's mask? So after asking a few coworkers, they said just make the monkey mask, don't try to make something functional, so I go ahead and just fill out that entire face. Now, unfortunately, I'm really not thinking about how this thing's going to be printed at this point, which I should be doing. I'm kind of lollygagging here, still trying to determine if I really want this non-functional mask or if just having a solid one's fine. Mirror the thing over, sew up the edges, extrude it out, and of course export it as an OBJ. Now I go in here, start working with it as a stencil, making it grayscale, filling in the lines that are kind of lost due to the fact that a lot of that image is purple. I start playing with layers and trying to embellish different parts of it to make this a really good alpha to work with. Get rid of the head, bring in my mask, subdivide it several times, smooth things out to make it look good. I forgot about those freaky eyes and teeth in there, so I'm going to delete them in just a few minutes, but right now what I'm working on is actually flattening the edges there to make them a little bit harder. So after flattening for a little bit, I finally get rid of those creepy internal parts, and now I just begin basically taking that alpha mask. Now my problem here is my computer starts having difficulties actually doing this. I'm working on my laptop at this point because I still haven't moved ZBrush over to my desktop. So the mask itself only took about 45 minutes to make, and once I had that stencil or the alpha that I brought into ZBrush, it was very easy to push this in and make it work. Now, I had, of course, run into a few problems with how I made the underlying geometry. I should have made one section, specifically probably the top, much flatter, so that when it did print, it would have a better base to work with. As we can see here, I can't even actually hold this thing up on its own, which required a lot of support. Now, I was very concerned about this print failing, so I actually started a second print as soon as I got home. I made this tiny little version of the mask, and actually you'll notice there's a hole in the center. And what I thought with this variation that I was going to do was instead I was going to, so I spent, I don't know, 30 minutes remembering how to program an Arduino, and I programmed an RGB LED basically to pulse in the right color. This didn't work at all, and it was very late at night, and my, let's just say, I needed to stop. And what I decided to do as soon as I got to work was actually bust out my old, my old art supplies, and I pulled out my old oil paints. I ended up using some titanium white and dioxazine purple, mixed the two of them together, a lot of white in that to really get it bright, and I just spent maybe 15 minutes or so painting this on real quick. Now, most of the smudges you see here aren't due to mistakes on my part. There are a few, though. It's actually more due to the fact that I didn't tell my coworkers this wasn't dry. So everyone who picked it up got paint somewhere. That's pretty much it with how to make this print. Thanks again, everyone. Remember to comment below if you have any suggestions, and let me know how you like it.